So here's a little Jujutsu Kaisen pop quiz for you. There are only 2 people in the series who face Gojo and lived long enough to also oppose Sukuna that weren't allies of Gojo, so people like Hikari and Yuta saying they got punched by him don't count. Tell me who those 2 people are. I'll give you a few seconds to think of your answer and comment below. Alright, if you guessed Jogo and Miguel, you'd be right. Of course, I won't let you savor the win because you only knew I'd say Miguel because, of course, you're watching a video about him. But anyway, today we're going to be talking a little bit about Miguel. Who is he? Why should you care about him? And how do I feel about him? And you can tell me yourselves if you care about him, and we'll do a little bit of talking about his feats in the series so far. And hopefully by the time this video comes out, leaks haven't come out showing that he's already been turned into sliced salami or whatever. But anyway, before I jump into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and toss the video a like. I know you guys probably hate hearing people say that, but it's the only way that YouTube realizes that people like the content and help suggest it to more people. With that out of the way, who is Miguel? Well, it's quite interesting, or better yet, kind of funny. Miguel is a character who has only been spotted maybe once or twice in the main manga for JJK, but he was in the prequel for a few more pages. Something I noticed a while back when chapter 137 dropped and Yuta appeared was that some readers took to social media to basically tell on themselves, revealing that they hadn't read the prequel. I even saw one guy go, OMG, Yuta was real? And the same thing sort of happened here with Miguel's introduction, or reintroduction. When the newest chapter of JJK dropped and Ui was saved by Miguel, I saw a few people go, who the hell is this guy? Followed by, wait, JJK has a prequel? And I can't help but think that these are the same guys posting all the hot takes each week about JJK, and if you ever think to question anything they say, it'll turn into all-out war on the internet, and they'll tell you that they definitely didn't miss anything. But like I said, Miguel is a character who has had limited screen time in the manga so far. He was a member of the Geto family after Geto defected from Jujutsu High and became a terrorist that wanted to eradicate normal humans so that only sorcerers were left in the world, and he recruited a good number of people for this goal. Miguel was one of those people, and in Volume 0 we see him preparing to face off against Satoru Gojo. Remember, this event takes place exactly a year ago because currently the date in JJK is December 24th, and last year is when Geto put his plan into action on the very same day. It's the day Geto died, and so Gojo wanted to kill Kenjaku to bury Geto's body on the same day, remember? Keep up. So yeah, in the manga, it's been exactly 1 year since Miguel has been on screen and speaking. Last time, like I said, he was preparing to face Gojo, and the manga doesn't show what happens in their fight. The anime version of this fight, however, shows Gojo beating the hell out of Miguel, and I'd say giving him probably about a 30-piece combo, and it sparked a lot of memes with Gojo beating up a black guy. You know how the internet is. But either way, the manga doesn't show this, and so not so much is said about Miguel. What we can sort of glean from the limited information that we have, though, is that Geto had high expectations of Miguel. Being a sorcerer from overseas, it would mean a lot to be scouted by Geto, who at the time was confirmed to be a special grade sorcerer, and he made it so that Miguel would face off against Gojo to stall him, knowing Gojo is also a special grade and probably the strongest, well, definitely the strongest sorcerer of their time. At the end of Volume 0, Gege states that Miguel was the MVP of that arc, I'm guessing because he was able to successfully hold off Gojo for about 10 to 12 or so minutes, which was his goal. He said, you know, he just wanted to hold him off for a few minutes to meet his quota. But the important thing really comes down to if you want to treat that extra scene from the movie as canon. Whether you do or not, Miguel still appears to be very impressive, since in the movie he was shown getting hit like 1,000,000 or billion times by Gojo, who was also tossing him around the city, and Miguel, even though he says he focuses on hit and run tactics, was still just very impressive for being able to survive this onslaught. It gets even more impressive when you consider the fact that later in the current arc, when Kusakabe asked the room who has taken a punch from Gojo before, and he himself, along with Hikari and Yuta, both spoke about how vicious his punches were and that he applied blue to his fist while delivering blows, and both Hikari and Yuta both say that they threw up after getting hit from Gojo. Gojo most likely hit them with a lot less force than he did Miguel, again assuming the movie to be a more accurate showing of Gojo versus Miguel, and yet Miguel was hurt but mostly fine. He took all those blows without puking, and he still had more in the tank to keep going. That alone, I'd honestly say, is a pretty big feat from Miguel, and even if you don't take the movie to be a better representation, then the fact that Gojo basically scouted him afterwards and forced Miguel to mentor Yuta should also tell you that both Geto and Gojo both viewed, I think I said both twice, viewed Miguel very highly. Like I said, Miguel was shown and mentioned a few times in the manga. The first time is in the regular manga was on chapter 33, the cover page, where it's shown to us that Miguel and Yuta Yuta are together in Africa, where it said that Yuta did his training and that Miguel was a big force in helping Yuta with his cursed energy control and in time gaining his own special grade status back, because in a volume extra or maybe like an interview with Gege said that his rank dropped and then it went back up after some time. Some people may have overlooked this, but technically Miguel should probably have some personal beef with Sukuna. It's a small detail and it could be nothing, I may be just reaching here, but Sukuna did kill the twins himself, and while it's true that no one from the Geto family was there or nearby to see, we don't know if someone ever came by afterwards and found the remains of the girls, or that the cell phone was diced up. Actually, we never saw what exactly the ability was for the cell phone, and so it's possible that before dying she snapped a picture of Sukuna or maybe sent a text saying that Sukuna was free and killing them. Yeah, I know it's a crazy shot in the dark, but they were all a family, and besides Geto, the twins were the only ones to be killed in the story. I say this because Miguel might actually not be alone. At the very least, it's very possible that Larue is also nearby, because we saw him mentioned sort of recently when Yuki saved everyone in Shibuya. She said that Larue was helping get people out of harm's way, and after the events of Shibuya, when Yuta fights Yuji, he tells Yuji that a few months ago, Gojo came and visited him in Africa and asked him to look out for Yuji. It's in that same scene that we see Gojo ask about Miguel, and Yuta tells Gojo that Miguel doesn't want to see him, and Yuta even cracks a joke about Gojo possibly getting a girlfriend, something that again could be nothing, but in volume 0, Gojo says to Miguel that he spoke like a famous comedian, or so maybe that rubbed off on Yuta, who knows. So we have some durability feats and possible reasoning for beef between Miguel and Sukuna that, Sukuna doesn't know about. What's next? I guess I'll talk about how he's even here in the first place and how I think he'll fare in combat. First, I'll say that we know Miguel wasn't really fond of Gojo. I wouldn't really care for the guy either if he kicked my ass and then stuck a teenager with me to train. But just like how Yuta says Gojo came to visit him, I think Gojo, in the end, before, fighting Sukuna, went to go visit Miguel. There's also been a large amount of talk in the community about how we never got to see the time between Gojo's unsealing and the fight with Sukuna. And we know Gojo basically said we'll settle this in a month, and between then and now, we've seen a handful of scenes from what happened in that time. I think we're going to see a flashback in the next chapter too from Miguel's POV. I think in the time that Gojo got free, he likely teleported straight to where Miguel was and told him about the situation and asked him for help. And there we have the how for Miguel's appearance. I've talked about Miguel's durability, but his technique is currently still unknown. All we know is that he used black rope that could disrupt techniques, and that got burned up from fighting with Gojo in the movie and in the manga. He brings down a power line in the movie that turns into snakes and attack Gojo. Not saying his technique involves snakes, but it could, and other than that, we see Miguel's speed is very impressive. In the latest chapter, Sukuna is feet away from Ui, who tries to retrieve Kusakabe's body, only for Miguel to flash through and not only save Ui, but scale a building in the same time that Sukuna's slashes hit the ground. To me, this is as impressive as Kusakabe squeezing in between the Uzumaki that was mere inches away from Miwa's face and deflecting that attack, which seemingly was impossible to dodge, and so you just also have to think about it. Ui's technique is teleporting, and Miguel was still quicker than both Sukuna's attack and Ui's reaction speed and ability to teleport himself out of harm's way. At the very least, Miguel should be someone who is both fast and tanky enough to not get insta-killed by Sukuna, and he very well may have brought backup. It wouldn't surprise me if during this fight Larue and other members of the Geto family show up as backup, and it'd be cool to finally see Larue's, curse technique. Maybe we'll see Maki getting back up here too after she recovers from the Black Flash. I think now is the perfect time to initiate the large gang versus Sukuna battle. So far it's mostly been 1v1s, and I'm sure you've seen the meme where someone gets hyped up, gets a cliffhanger, and then beaten by Sukuna. It's very likely the same thing happens here, and personally it doesn't bother me because, Sukuna needs to be chipped down for them to finally beat him. But it'll be interesting when we see what Miguel's technique is and how he'll do against Sukuna. I think he's got both a good reason to be here as well as the capacity of a sorcerer to be here. Remember, he's the only human to face Gojo for real in a fight and not die, and we have no idea how sorcerers from Africa get down. So when Sukuna says he doesn't know, Miguel responds in a way that confidently sounds like Sukuna should if he ever stepped foot outside of Japan. So maybe Miguel is secretly a big deal. Anyway, let me know what you think below. Do you think Miguel is going to cook or get cooked? Will Larue or any of the other members of the family show up? Hopefully this video isn't completely wrecked when leaks come out. If you watch this and also read leaks, don't spoil the new chapter in the comments. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell and drop a comment below letting me know your thoughts. I'll take my favorite comment and post it as comments of the week. Alright guys, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.